Why is it that the moment you stop chasing her, she suddenly starts chasing you? It doesn't make sense at first. You gave her your attention. You gave her time. You showed her you cared. You were there, present, consistent, available. And still, she drifted. But the moment you pulled away, everything changed. Suddenly she texts more. She watches your stories. She asks where you've been. Maybe she even wants to catch up. What? Because female desire isn't logical. It's emotional. It doesn't respond to comfort. It responds to tension. And tension is born from one thing only: uncertainty. When you're always there, always texting, always reaching out, there's no tension, no space, no mystery. She knows you want her. She knows where you are. She knows how to get you. And what's easily available is easily ignored. This is the paradox most men never learn. Women crave what's just out of reach. Not because they're cruel, but because they are wired to value what is earned, not what is offered. And when you pull away, something primal gets triggered. Not her logic, her instinct. Let's go deeper. The female brain is evolutionarily designed to seek high-value mates. Not just physically, but emotionally, status, stability, strength. And in ancient terms, availability was not the most desirable trait in a man. Scarcity was. The man who wasn't always around? He must have had options. He must have been dangerous. He must have been valuable. That psychology hasn't changed. So when you're texting her every morning, replying within seconds, asking her out with no friction, and showing her that your world revolves around her, you're doing something fatal. You're killing the hunt. And when there's no hunt, there's no spark. You see, men desire peace. Women desire energy. And nothing produces more energy than the uncertainty of a man who withdraws. It's like flipping a switch in her body. She doesn't decide to miss you. She doesn't choose to feel anxious. Her biology does it for her. The dopamine hit she once got from your attention is now gone. The validation cut off. And just like that, the game resets and she becomes the one seeking. But this only works if your withdrawal is real. You can't fake indifference. You can't pretend to be distant while secretly stalking her profile. Women feel energy before logic. So if you pull back, you better mean it. Not as a tactic, but as a return to center. Because that's what truly draws her in. Not the absence of communication, but the presence of self-worth. Now here's where it gets deeper. When a man pulls away with intention, it creates something women can't resist: space. And space is erotic. What? Because space invites projection. And projection is where obsession is born. When you're not texting her, she's imagining why. When you're not posting, she's wondering where you are. When you're not validating her, she's wondering who is. And that wondering, that curiosity, that mental loop, is the foundation of desire. Because it's not reality that hooks her. It's the uncertainty of your absence. Now let's clear something up. Pulling away doesn't mean ghosting. It doesn't mean manipulation. It doesn't mean playing hard to get. It means returning your energy to your mission. It means putting the throne before the queen. It means not making her the center of your world, because a man who does that stops being a king and becomes a subject. And women don't dream of serving subjects. They dream of chasing the man who doesn't need them. So how do you pull away in a way that builds tension instead of creating resentment? Simple. Slow down your responses. Let the silence speak. Don't rush. Don't explain. Don't apologize for being busy. Be harder to access. Not in a rude way, but in a way that signals priority. You're focused. You're building. You're moving. Withdraw your emotional labor. Stop being her therapist. Stop being her backup plan. Let her feel the loss of your presence. Lead with vision, not validation. Post with purpose. Speak with direction. Show that your life moves regardless of her involvement. Because once she senses that she's no longer in control of your attention, the spell reverses. Now she's the one checking her phone. Now she's the one doubting her power. Now she's the one craving what she thought she could replace. But here's the part most men mess up. They pull away, but then they watch her reaction. They sit by their phones. They obsess over her story views. They wait to see if she cares. And in doing that, they miss the point. Pulling away only works when it's detached. Not as a move. Not as a strategy. As a shift in value. Because when a man detaches for real, his energy changes. His presence deepens. His world gets richer. And that is what women feel. Even from a distance. Let's talk psychology for a moment. Human beings are wired to pursue what feels elusive. The forbidden fruit. The locked door. The unpredictable mind. Women are no exception. When you're always available, you're emotionally processed. There's no novelty. No urgency. No risk. But when you pull back, cleanly, calmly, with purpose, you reintroduce those things. You become the puzzle she can't solve. The chapter she didn't finish. The story she has to reread again and again. And that's what keeps her hooked. Here's a truth most men don't want to hear. If she only values you when you pull away, then she never really valued you when you chased. What she valued was the feeling you gave her. The rush, the control, the security. Not you, but her reflection in your desire. So when you stop offering it and she starts to pursue, you've exposed the core dynamic. Her desire isn't about connection. It's about power. And if you want to flip that dynamic forever, you must stop feeding her ego and start feeding your own mission. Now, what happens when she comes back? Because she will come back. Maybe subtly. Maybe boldly. Maybe pretending nothing happened. But make no mistake, your absence leaves a void. And most women don't know how to sit with that for long. So when she returns, you have two choices. Let her back in the same way, and reset the cycle of chase and boredom. Make her re-earn your presence. Not through drama. Through standards. She has to meet your frame now. She has to respect your world. She has to recognize you are no longer the man who needs her, and that makes her need you. Let's close with this. Women don't fall for consistency. They fall for polarity. Not routine, but rhythm. The dance of tension and release. The burn of absence and the warmth of return. And if you master that, if you become the man who doesn't chase but chooses, if you learn to pull away not to punish but to preserve, you will become irresistible. Not because you're playing games, but because you're finally playing by nature's rules. Because nature doesn't reward the desperate. It rewards the sovereign, the grounded, the man who can walk away, not out of spite but out of discipline. The man who understands that pulling away isn't a punishment, it's a reset, a reminder of value, a boundary, a signal that you are not emotionally available on demand, that your energy is not a faucet, that your presence, your attention, is a privilege, not a subscription. When you embrace this, something changes in your posture, your eyes, your rhythm. You no longer rush to fill silence. You don't panic when she withdraws. You don't interpret her distance as rejection. You see it for what it is, a test. And when you stop reacting, the test becomes hers. Because now she has to ask, where did his energy go? Why doesn't he chase anymore? Who has his attention now? That's when the dynamic shifts, from you proving your worth, to her questioning hers. And this is where true attraction is born, in the subtle imbalance. Not inequality but polarity. The dance between pursuit and mystery. Fire and ice. Too much fire and you burn the bridge. Too much ice and nothing grows. But when you withdraw just enough, when your silence becomes sacred, not petty, she begins to feel it in her nervous system. Not logic. Not preference. Instinct. The primal part of her that is pulled to power, not safety. Because that's what pulling away ultimately is. A display of power. Not aggression. Not manipulation. But sovereignty. You're showing her that you are not anchored in her validation. You are anchored in mission, in legacy, in self-command. And whether she joins you or not, you continue. With or without her. Understand this. A woman doesn't want a man who's always there. She wants a man who is going somewhere. If she can't feel your trajectory, she'll try to become your direction. And the moment you allow that, the polarity dies. You become her project, her pet, her comfort. And desire cannot live in comfort. It lives in tension. It breathes in mystery. So when you pull away, you're not just creating distance, you're creating space for desire to return. But you must be ruthless with yourself here. Because the temptation to run back is strong. To text again. To check her story. To ask if she's okay. Don't. That's not love, that's weakness. Pulling away is the art of holding the line. Of letting her wonder. Letting her reach. Letting her feel what life is like without your presence. Because it's not your message that she misses. It's your energy. And if you've cultivated that energy, if you've become the man of focus, silence, clarity, then your absence becomes louder than your words ever were. She starts to imagine you with other women. Starts replaying your last conversation. Starts resenting herself for not valuing you when you were near. That's when the pendulum swings. And she chases. Not out of strategy, but out of need. Because the deeper truth is this. She only desires what she fears losing. And if you've never given her the chance to lose you, she's never had the chance to fully want you. So now you're armed with the truth. She only wants you when you pull away, not because she's broken, but because that's how desire works. Desire needs space, needs oxygen, needs contrast. So give it that. Pull your energy back with grace. Not in anger, but in self-respect. Not as punishment, but as power. Let her come to you. Let her feel the absence. Let her wonder. And if she returns on her own without prompting, don't collapse. Keep your standard. Keep your pace. Keep your frame. Let her re-enter your world on your terms. The terms of a man who knows that his time, energy, and attention are sacred. Because when you move like that, when you become a man who pulls away with power, not fear, you activate something no amount of compliments ever could. Her obsession. Now it's your move. Drop a comment below. Have you ever walked away from a woman and watched her chase? Or did you stay too long and lose her respect? Let's hear your truth. No filters. No fluff. Just masculine clarity. And if this hit you deep, subscribe to Mind and Empire. We're not here to be liked. We're here to be awake. To stop chasing. To start leading. To build presence so undeniable that silence speaks louder than seduction. Like, share, comment, and above all, pull back not to disappear, but to become unforgettable.